Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we examine headlines from Puerto Vallarta, from our state, from our country, in search of important news, good news, cultural news, sad news, all kinds of news that somehow affect our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals, and hopefully make our lives better. This is what we do. We exchange tips, we exchange news, we ask questions about things that are important to us. And we do this from Monday through Saturday every morning. Well, not Sundays. And it's a pleasure to get together with you. As always, today is Friday, August the 20th. We have so much to unpack today. It's not even funny. We have all kinds of important news. We have announcements to make. And of course, today is our very first day in which we discuss a local colonia or neighborhood. And today we are going to talk about Colonia Valentín Gómez Farías. This is because that's how the voting came out. Now we'll talk about the voting later on. So there's a lot of stuff and lots of good news too. So we might as well get started. As always, if this is the first time you join us, my name is Paco, and we'd love to know that you are new. You can do that. You can let us know by writing the word new in your comments, and we'll give you a good welcome, a nice welcome. And if you have something that is really important for you to bring up during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment. So let's go for it. Woohoo! Good news for vaccination people. Local authorities have announced that the second COVID-19 shots for folks ages 18 to 29 are coming this week, despite the fact that this age group was the latest to receive the first shot. Why is this the case? Well, the reason is that the group of people that are between age 18 and 29 received the Sinovac vaccine, which requires a shorter interval between the first and second shot. As such, folks in their 30s will not be receiving their second shot until the beginning of September, specific dates to be defined. Local authorities also mentioned that they are hoping, this is important, friends, they are hoping to have a campaign in Puerto Vallarta for folks of any age that for whatever reason were unable to receive any COVID-19 vaccines during their corresponding campaign. This has not yet been confirmed, but it could happen during the month of October. We know that this is very important for many, so we are definitely going to keep our eyes open on this. But again, if you are between 18 and 29, your vaccine, your second shot is coming this coming week. We will have details as soon as they are available, but more than likely this will happen both at La Lija and at the Naval Hospital as vaccination campaigns have been taking place. The return to school in Mexico is imminent, and according to a national poll, 7 out of 10 children are looking forward to going back to school. The poll was conducted online, and over 37,000 children and teenagers participated. The return to school, of course, has been a complicated matter given the many criteria that must be considered, starting with the conditions in which many schools find themselves in after more than 12 months of not being used, not to mention the concern that many parents and authorities have over the safety of our children. Not a simple matter, but again, the return to school, at least in the state of Jalisco, is imminent. Other states have decided to wait a little longer. And of course, this news is not without detractors. One such detractor has been Jorge Telles Lopez, director of the local Guadalajara University campus, or COOC, who considers that given the current state of the pandemic in Puerto Vallarta, it is simply too risky to return to school at this time. I also want to let you know that CEPAL, as always, has posted that there's going to be some water shortage in a couple of colonias, Independencia, Las Garzas, and Villas Independencia. This is for today. So take your shower early, save your water in a bucket for your toilet, as there could be shortage of water in these three colonias between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. I also want to share with you that the Carnival Panorama, as we know, is the first cruise ship to return to Puerto Vallarta since the pandemic began. And while we've been expecting its arrival for this coming Wednesday, representatives of the cruise line have announced that its first stop will be Puerto Vallarta. As such, it will dock in our city on Tuesday this coming week instead of Wednesday. The Panorama will then head for Mazatlan and finally Los Cabos before returning to California. Yay! Now, we have to make an announcement before we switch over to the weather. I'd like to make a brief but important announcement. It's been quite some time since we have one of these, but clearly this merits the shit show. Yesterday, we shared news with you about the fact that Mexico is opening its borders to Afghan refugees, particularly women and young girls. This is an act of humanitarian. This is a humanitarian act that Mexico is doing, and it has been praised by many governments, including the government of the United States. Unfortunately, yesterday, while we were in our broadcast, this news elicited a very negative commentary, a hateful commentary by one of you users. I think I have it here on the screen. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Well, I don't think I do, but it doesn't matter. What matters is, and I want to be very clear about this, is we are a broadcast about Puerto Vallarta in the state of Jalisco, in the country of Mexico. We're here to share positive, nurturing, important, helpful bits of news about that subject matter. We're not a place where any type of hate remarks are endorsed or even allowed. And I want to make sure that if by any chance we've given you the impression that making hateful comments about anyone or anything is something that we enjoy, I apologize. That is not what Coffee and Headlines is about. The offending viewer has been banned from the page, and it pains me to do that. But it is very important for me that whatever we continue to enjoy here is always positive and is always nurturing in one way or another. And last but not least, that it has to do with Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Mexico. I want to make sure that this is very clear to you. If it hasn't been clear, I sincerely apologize, but we have no tolerance for hateful speech here at Coffee and Headlines. Now, let's take a look at the weather. I convinced Mike Richards to step down as Jeopardy host so that I could swoop in and take his place, says our snarky carrot weather. Whatever, Jeopardy. What we care about is our temperature. It is 28 degrees right now. It feels like 36. Ouch! Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 83. And our humidity is at 97%. What can we expect for this weekend? Well, we can expect rain in the evening and overnight tonight. Oh my God, today is Friday. We can expect rain in the evening and overnight, and a high temperature of 32 and a low temperature of 25. Tomorrow, Saturday, rain until morning, starting again in the evening with a high temperature of 32, a low temperature of 24. And on Sunday, rain starting in the afternoon with a high temperature of 32 and low temperature of 24. How about that? Not bad at all. Now, let me take a look at my notes to see what is next in what we're going to talk about. Plants, of course. This is a fun, feel-good story. The day that I got my second vaccine, I was heading to La Lija with some friends, and we crossed the Pitillal River, and we noticed a clearing along the banks of the river where some work was being done. When we were driving by this, we figured this is an extension to the walking path, probably. But now we learned that the city of Puerto Vallarta's Department of Municipal Ecology and Public Works, big title, they have begun a reforestation program along the banks of the Pitillal River, which is totally awesome. I did notice what seemed to be a new road, and I wonder if the city is actually going to extend the walking path that we are already familiar with. We found out that the city will be planting trees in 57 different locations throughout the city. Let me show you in the map where this photograph was taken to add a little bit of context. So here is, let's see, this is Francisco Villa. This is the Walmart in Macro Plaza. And this is the walking path that we know over here. And we have walked this path as part of our walking tours. And the place where we saw the planting was over here along this edge of the river. So will they actually expand the path to go all the way down here? We don't know. But it is in this stretch that they are currently building trees. And this makes me very, very happy to announce. And we will be walking over there at some point in the near future so that we can take a look at whether there's more to this bit of news or not. Now, I have an important announcement because I've been mentioning a couple of times that I've been collaborating with Carmen Porras and her wife Claudia on their new project. We know them as the founders of the wonderful Mexican restaurant El Arrayan, which they decided to close right around the pandemic. And we were very sad to learn that such an important Mexican restaurant in the city would be closing. We knew that they were up to something, and finally the cat is out of the bag, and the new website and Facebook page for Oculto, their new project, has been published. Let me show you one of the videos that we produced for the project, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Here we go. Okay, so starting with the name of the place, Oculto, the Spanish word oculto means hidden, and this is precisely what Carmen and Claudia envisioned, a cozy, intimate place where you can enjoy a private dinner or cooking class with your best friends. Now, Carmen and Claudia, aside from what they are doing or they were doing with El Arrayan, they were doing Mexican cooking classes for the longest time, and they wanted to continue doing that. And they found this wonderful venue, this wonderful space in an undisclosed location. And that's part of the whole concept. That's why it's called hidden. They found this wonderful space that seemed ideal both for cooking classes and also for private dinners. And what do I mean by private dinners? Well, we all know that we have different levels of concern about our well-being when it comes to going out to public places. And maybe we have a special celebration that we want to do with a nice dinner with intimate friends that are part of our very own clusters. And maybe we need a place to do it. And what Carmen and Claudia have created with this place called Oculto is a safe place where you can get in touch with them and say, hey, I want to bring my 10 or 15 best friends and we want to have a safe, wonderful dinner. Can you cater to us? So what they'll do is they'll put together a menu and they'll put together a package so that you can enjoy yourself in an air-conditioned, spacious, high-ceiling, beautiful venue that is just awesome. So I'm very happy that this is finally out of the bag. And let me show you very quickly, what do I have here? Do I have, oh, yes, I do. Yes, I want to show you their Facebook page, because now you can find the Facebook page on Facebook, and I'm going to leave this in the show notes. So it is a great, great concept, because not only is it a safe place and a comfortable place where you can have dinner with your friends, it is a place where you can also have live music. If you tell Carmen and Claudia, well, we would love some background music, or maybe we would like to enjoy a private performance of sorts. There's all kinds of possibilities. It's really up to your imagination. So I want to congratulate my dear friends Carmen and Claudia for this project. It's a great way to reinvent themselves during the pandemic, when we still feel very uncertain about going certain places that we're not comfortable in or familiar with. So I've been wanting to tell you about this for the longest time, because I think it's a really, really cool concept. I congratulate my friends Carmen and Claudia, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to collaborate with them on this wonderful project. The last thing that I want to share with you, Angel, let me answer this very quick question, because I saw it. Is it only for private groups? Oculto, yes, it is. This is not a restaurant that you can say, oh, let's go and have dinner tonight at Oculto. It's not open to the public in that regard. If you want to go ahead and book something, you talk to them in advance and you make it happen. I am sure that they're going to start publishing schedules of cooking classes and in due time, and that way you'll be able to sign up for them. Lynn asks, did I produce the video? Yes, it was a lot of fun, and that's just the first one that we've done. I will share links to all of this in the show notes as always. And before we continue with our neighborhood adventure, I have one more thing that I want to share with you, because YouTube has been so super kind to me this week, sending me interesting videos. And this one is completely unrelated, but not so. It is an interesting one because it has to do with Mexican culture. If you have ever visited the National Anthropology Museum in Mexico City, you've probably been wowed by its unique architectural style. The museum was designed by the late Mexican architect Pedro Ramirez Vázquez, one of our most renowned, our most award-winning architects. Ramirez Vázquez was also responsible for the design of the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, and he was president of the organizing committee of the Mexico City Olympics in 1968. In this capacity, Ramirez Vázquez did two really important things. Number one, he wanted to give women an important place in the celebration of the games. So the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico were the first in which a woman lit the Olympic fire in the stadium during the opening ceremonies. Number two, as an architect, his team introduced a truly groundbreaking design for the look of the Olympic logo, inventing not only the look of the games, but he also popularized the use of pictograms or icons to represent each sport. He commissioned U.S. graphic designer Lance Wyman to design the logo for the Olympics, the icons for the sports, and then Wyman went on to design all the iconography for the Mexico City subway. And this happened at a time in which detractors used to say, well, why do you mean you have to come up with icons? We can read, was what some people used to say. But the icons turned out to be great visual references for knowing what station you were getting on or getting off at. And it's amazing because now, we have icons on our devices and we take them for granted. And this is a kind of thing that was just not thought about at the time. What does this have to do with YouTube? Well, YouTube sent me or shared with me this nifty 6-minute feature that I am sure you will enjoy watching on the whole process of design that took place for the 68 Olympics, and a fascinating look at how the pictograms or icons for the Mexico City subway stations came about. The end. And now we can move on to a neighborhood discussion, and we are ready to do this, I think. Although there's so many things that I want to show you about Gómez Farías. Let me take a look at my notes. Okay, for starters, I want to show you a little trick. Well, actually, just in case there's anybody here that's watching for the first time, early this week, you did it, not me. You came up with the idea, let's have a weekly discussion on different Mexico's, different colonias in Puerto Vallarta. And I figured, well, there's a lot of them. I've picked a list of 22 colonias that I am familiar with, and I share them with you. And in a poll, you decided which ones were the ones you wanted to hear more about and less about. And then you decided, let's start with the least popular ones. So Valentin Gómez Farías is the first one that we're going to tackle. So the first thing I want to do, even before we get into Gómez Farías, I'm going to show you a really nifty trick with Google Maps. If you type the name of the colonia, well, it's pre-selected because I've been looking for it. If you type the name of a colonia and then follow it with Puerto Vallarta, more often than not, Google Maps returns the outline of the colonia, which you can clearly see here. So if you're ever wondering where something is in Puerto Vallarta, where a colonia is, this is a really helpful tip on finding them. Now, where is it located? Well, you can zoom out of the map a little bit, and then the name of the adjoining colonia starts showing up. So we see that here is Versalles, here is La Avena, here is Las Gaviotas, Niños Héroes, 10 de Mayo, Santa Maria, and right here is the colonia. It's located right next to the Libramiento, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, since Valentin Gómez Farías is right next to my colonia, it's actually 2 blocks away from my house, yesterday after the broadcast, I decided to go out for a walk and find out just what you might expect to find at Gómez Farías in this 2-minute supercut. Let's take a look. And there you have it. Now, let me tell you some quick facts about Valentin Gómez Farías, the neighborhood. For starters, Valentin Gómez Farías was president of Mexico during two periods in the 1830s and the 1840s. What was he doing with the bamboo? Oh, I'll get to that in a second, Allison. I just saw your comment. Gómez Farías is a very urban, high-density, very Mexican neighborhood. It has narrow streets. Most of them are cobblestoned, so it's not particularly wheelchair-friendly. But it is surrounded by important roads, which means that there is very good public transportation. It is, while it's a high-density colonia, the tallest buildings that I saw in my walk were 3 stories tall. So there's no condoizing in Gómez Farías just yet. There's a bunch of smaller houses, some really cute ones. I try to take photographs of some of the cute homes as I was walking about. So if I was looking for a place to live that was affordable, that was near other things, I think Valentin Gómez Farías would be a nice colonia to consider. And I look forward to seeing comments from anyone that is actually more familiar with the neighborhood than I am. And I want to, the supercut the video just came and went very, very quickly. But I want to go back and refer to a couple of things that we featured on the video so that they can make better sense. So let me switch over to this other presentation where it is. Bam! Is this happening? Yes. Okay. Well, for starters, I want to show you how the ranking of the colonias turned out. We are starting with Valentin Gómez Farías, as you can see. And then next week, we're going to talk about López Mateos, followed by Altavista, La Avena, which is my neighborhood, Díaz Ordaz, and so forth and so on. This is how you ended up voting for the different colonias. Now, one of the first things that I want to mention is go back to what happened yesterday. I was I was home and I decided I'm going to go walk around the perimeters of the colonia for the most part, and that was the walk that I did yesterday. It's not a large colonia, so it didn't take a lot of time to do. Now, if you look at the map, I want to point out this road over here, which has a canal in the middle. We've seen part of this road in another walking video. And no, we did not forget about Aralia, Cindy Jenkins. I simply decided to start with the 22 colonias that I'm most familiar with. Hold your horses. Anyhow, we've walked past part of this before, and I want to show you that this side of the canal, and then I want to show you this side of the canal, and then I want to show you this side of the canal. In that order, for starters. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, first of all, this is the first side of the canal, and I show you this because where that van is stopped, it used to be cobblestone not even 2 months ago. So that whole section has already been repaved, and it connects all the way down to Avenida Las Torres, which we went exploring the other day, and it's all fully paved, so it's becoming more urban. The opposite side, so if you were looking in the opposite direction, you would be looking at this. This is the remainder of that canal street, and that canal carries the water that comes down from the mountains during the rainy season. And this street is lined with homes and small buildings and so forth and so on. It gets a little, this is the opposite side of it. And the reason I show you the opposite side of the canal is that because I reached that point and it was just kind of I don't know that I like this very much, but hopefully the more urban the colonia becomes, the more its own neighborhoods will become mindful of how it's important to get, our act together when it comes to throwing out trash away. I also want to highlight that in this colonia is this amazing restaurant called Lorena, which I had walked by a million times, but because I walked yesterday right after the broadcast, I was starving and I figured, well, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and go walk the colonia and check out this restaurant, which turned out to beat all my expectations. It is located within the colonia. It's in a corner spot. and it is kind of a comida corrida restaurant, which means that you get different choices for each day. For example, and all these choices are 100 pesos. Well, there's one that is only 95. So yesterday was Thursday. So I went for the machaca, which we talked about machaca not too long ago. It's shredded beef cooked in a sauce, and it was served with red rice, and it was served with beans, and I only paid 100 pesos for it, and it was absolutely to die for. It was really, really great. And I also wanted to show you this intersection, which looks like really a broad street and whatnot. Well, this is the intersection where the backside of the Saturday Libramiento Tianguis sets shop. So it looks very quiet and peaceful, but just imagine this street, particularly the right-hand side. Well, on the map, it's the left-hand side. But this street gets covered with vendors and people buying and selling, and that it is this corner, it is right here that I found my fabulous hat, the big ginormous hat that I wear for some of my sunny walks. That's where I found it. And then somebody asked just now, well, what was that man cranking during the video? Well, I was equally fascinated by that. Take a look at it. And it is this hand cranked sugarcane juice extractor, and I had a nice cold freshly made glass of sugarcane, and this is how it works. You crank it and out comes the juice, and you don't see those very frequently. So that, my friends, is the end of my Colonia Valentín Gómez Farías report. Again, I'm familiar enough to talk about it. I've never lived there, but I would not think twice if I found a good apartment or a good place to rent to look there. You will be surrounded by a lot of Spanish-speaking people, but as you saw during the supercut, there are a lot of little shops. There was a bakery, a hardware store, there's a fried chicken, there's just about everything you would want to have on a day-to-day basis. The end. Now, let me rewind our comment tape to the very beginning, and we are going to take a look at all your comments and suggestions. I am so happy that we did this, and I'm so glad that we survived it. And we, of course, will have a lot more time to plan for the next Colonia next week. Good morning to everyone that said good morning, including faces that I'm not very familiar with, such as Miguel Rodriguez Gomez. Welcome and good morning. Let's see what else we have. Claudia and Carmen are in the house. Yay! Congratulations again, my dear friends. It's time to let Oculto out in the open. And what a storm we had last night. Yes, it rained. It was beautiful. Let's see what else we have. Dave is moving rapidly. He is now in Amsterdam. Sad to say that Amsterdam is a total shit show. Okay, well, come back to Puerto Vallarta. At least you'll be in a more familiar shit show, that's for sure. Let's see what else we have. Thanks, Paco, for the Colonia map yesterday. I don't recognize much of it. Well, that's part of that's part of why we're doing this, Betsy. What we do here, as you know, is to create connections among ourselves and between ourselves and the destination. So this is how we are doing it. Let's see what else. Question: what is the bed situation in public and private hospitals with COVID? Thanks, Carol. I don't know precisely what the bed situation is today, but I can tell you that public hospitals are very highly saturated with patients. Private hospitals, we don't keep track of. And as soon as we get an important update to that effect, we'll be happy to elaborate. Boom, bada, boom, bum, 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 bum. Let's see. New! Katrina Bukovac, welcome to Coffee and Headlines. grab your favorite cocktail, your warm coffee, your cold coffee, your coffee with Kahlua, your coffee with Bailey's, your tea, your joint. Grab whatever makes you feel comfortable. Sit around, hang out, and ask all the questions you like. If they're good questions, we'll praise you. If they're bad questions, we'll shame you. No, we won't. Well, maybe a little. Let's see what else we have. Carlos is sending me flirtatious greetings and making me blush like a schoolgirl. Thank you, Carlos. Saludos. Mwah. Let's see what else we have. Love to see how fast they're clipping along with the second round of vaccines. Hopefully those who haven't had the opportunity yet to get their first jab will be granted access soon. Again, as we announced, Logan, hopefully in October. What else? Yes. Thank you, Mexico, for opening doors and hearts. Absolutely. Thank you for keeping your scruples. It's not a matter of that. It's simply a matter of having a safe place that we look forward to come to. And I don't ever look forward to going places where people are talking hate. That's just me. There are other places online and in person where we can be as hateful as we want. This is not one of them. Thank you for keeping toxic negative people out. Thank you back, Jeannie, for supporting us on that decision. Let's see what else. Speaking of Angelo, speaking of plants, your penis plant seems to be growing longer and longer. Do you put Viagra in the water? No Viagra. We just spray it with water every now and then. It's actually the same size. I'm actually concerned that I'm killing it because I'm a plant murderer, but it still shows a little bit of green, which makes me happy. The plant doctor that gifted it to me is coming back to Puerto Vallarta soon, so I hope for a private consultation. Great comments about Oculto. Great comments about the video. Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to work on the video campaign with Carmen and Claudia. They were great collaborators, and I can't wait to put together a group of people. It is really not unaffordable. They have a press release that was just sent to me. I forget the exact amount, but a night at Oculto with cocktails and appetizer and main course and dessert turns out to be just about the same as you would enjoy at a restaurant outing. The only difference is A, you're only dining with your friends, and B, you are in most capable culinary hands. So it doesn't get any better than that. Let's see what else we have. Bravo, lady, says Maggie. That sounds like Peggy. We already answered this. Yes, it is only for private groups. Do you think we'll all fit in Oculto? Probably not, Dave. Oculto, and Carmen and Claudia can correct me, it's probably good for groups that are up to about 15 people. There's an area where there's a little loungy area, and you visit there first. And then there's an area for dining, and they have several large tables which we can be adapted to many different types of situations. So it's going to be very, very, very fun. Does it have to be large groups? That is a question better answered by them. I don't know if they have a minimum number of people. But again, Sam, we will share their Facebook page and their website at the end of the broadcast in our show notes so that you can direct your questions directly to them, unless they are answering and I just haven't seen their answers just yet. So let's make a party and book it. Well, yeah, that's the whole idea. I'm actually, I don't want to give it away just yet, but maybe I should. I want to team up with Carmen and Claudia and do some music appreciation things, like how fun it would be to do a brief presentation on the history of mariachi, for example, and have a small mariachi band right there, not only playing, but actually talking about how they play their different instruments. and then of course having a lovely dinner afterwards. So there's the doors are open. Anybody that wants to make proposals for them are welcome to do it. Dan asks, is it accessible? And by that, of course, I know you mean wheelchair accessible. There's a little bump on the door, if I recall correctly, but it is perfectly easy to get to. Very, 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 very accessible. Let's see what else. Boom, ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum. Oh, Rita, thank you so very much for that. I know that you're into graphic design, and I think you will find that feature very, very interesting to watch. Matthew, who lives in Mexico City, comments, Wyman's icons are also very helpful for indigenous people who can't read Spanish. Absolutely, and foreign tourists. And by the way, Valentin Gómez Farías has its own icon on, I think it's line 3 of Mexico City subway station. It's the pink line, because there is a Valentin Gómez Farías stop along the highway. The subway. Let's see what else. Who decided the name and the boundaries of the colonias? Well, the government, of course. Don't they decide those things in every city? I don't know. I mean, I suppose it was the government or the people that first settled there. Let's see what else we have. Oh, thank you for that clarification. Dan tells us that it is wheelchair friendly enough. We love going through there, even though I had to pick Kathy up off the ground once. So there you go. So it's not as wheelchair unaccessible as I thought. Of course, we know that Dan and Kathy are everywhere around the city, provided that it is wheelchair accessible. Thank you very much for that clarification. Again, we did not forget about our alias. We did not forget about Buenos Aires. As I very clearly explained, we start with colonias that are easier for yours truly. These are the colonias that I'm familiar with. We will get to colonias that I'm not as familiar with eventually, but selfishly, and if you don't like it, ni modo, I chose to start with colonias that I have something to say about. So we will get to other colonias at some point in the adventure. Let's see. Oh, an embarrassment of riches. Oh, how sweet. Thank you very much, Rita. La. Shirley loves Lorena. You know, I should be chastised for not having gone there. I've lived like 6 blocks away from Lorena for the last 4 years, and it was not until yesterday that I went, and I'm definitely going to go back. Did I say mole at Lorena? Well, yes, Cindy just said mole at Lorena. So they must have mole on Tuesdays. What I would do is I would just go on any day of the week, because you're going to love it, and just figure out when they serve whatever it is that you like to try the most. Gigi says, hi, Paco, Versalles here. I can't decipher the list of colonias chosen by the group. Is Buenos Aires on one of the ones on the list? Oh my goodness, Gigi, I don't remember if we mentioned Buenos Aires. If we didn't, we'll get to it at some point. Let's see what else we have. Thank you very much, Terry. But again, I want to keep this as multi-sided as possible. I don't want this just to be my own perception of the colonias. So we will be announcing ahead of time which colonias we're going to tackle and when. So as long as we're curious about the colonias, let me try to bring up the whole list of colonias again. Give me just 1 second. I think I can do that fairly quickly. And here we go. Okay, I'm reading all the colonias that are already on the map. Valentin Gómez Farías. Next week, a week from today, we're going to talk about La López Mateos. So if you live in López Mateos, if you're familiar with López Mateos, if you have good experiences, bad experiences about López Mateos, that's what we're going to talk about a week from today. That will be followed by Altavista, La Avena, Díaz Ordaz, El Centro, Marina Vallarta, Paso Ancho, Zona Hotelera or Hotel Zone, El Caloso, Conchas Chinas, Amapas, El Remance, Lázaro Cárdenas, Pitillal Centro, Jardines de las Gaviotas, and Gaviotas we're going to tackle on the same day, even though one got more votes than the other. Then Emiliano Zapata, then El Centro, then Fluvial, then Cinco de Diciembre, and then Versalles. And after Versalles, we will continue with whatever colonias we have gotten familiar with between now and then. We're almost done with the comments, and let me take a quick look at... thank you very much, Dale. Rent is very reasonable there. I found my friend a cool place for 1,800 pesos a month with a huge balcony. She had never lived on her own, and it is perfect. One thing I will say about finding rentals in colonias like Gómez Farías is these colonias are not necessarily very well supported by real estate agents as yet. Versalles has been the case that way, but that's surely going to change very quickly given the increasing popularity in Versalles. The best way to find places to live in these colonias is to walk the streets, is to walk into little shops and ask people in Spanish, hey, do you know of any places for rent? Because a lot of times it's the same business owners that are renting upstairs from their businesses and things like that. So it will take some legwork, but it'll definitely pay off. And I speak from experience. There's no way I would have found my apartment where we're broadcasting from without the know-how of somebody that knew the owner. And when I moved here, and ever since, I am paying less than half of what I was paying in Emiliano Zapata. Let's see what else. Thank you for pulling the plug on the negative comments from yesterday. We will always do that. No excuses, no forewarnings. It's just not something that we tolerate. And thank you for supporting me with that. Katrina says it is a very basic traditional neighborhood. A friend lives near the end of Santa Teresita and says that everything he could need is within a block or two. I found the small fruteria on the corner of Santa Teresita near Vienna is well stocked. I have always imagined that side streets like Central Sur would be lovely if spruced up. Well, I think that is bound to happen, Katrina. And I noticed a few houses that were clearly fixed up since they were probably purchased or repurchased or something. But there were some adorable houses that I would not think twice to live in within the Colonia. Katrina, who's new, is already giving us all these wonderful bits of wisdom. Thank you very much for chiming in. It is very much appreciated. That's what we do here. Speaking of joints, when is the medical marijuana shop opening in Nuevo Vallarta? I have no idea. I didn't even know there was one that was going to be opening. Question, would it be helpful or beneficial to you to have any cluster members to send photos or videos of colonias you might not be able to get to or walk around? That's a great question, Julie. If you have any photos that you wish to share, they're always welcome. I cannot guarantee that we will get to all colonias in glorious detail, just as we did Valentin Gómez Farías. And for example, when it's time to talk about Alta Vista is hilly, and we will take some photographs, just landmark photographs, but we're not going to be walking up and down the streets of Alta Vista just to talk about it. You can know that for sure. Let's see what else. Please send this time in the world. What? Thank you for banning that person there. Bad thought, no. Please send this time in the world for those things with cocktails. Okay, I did not understand that, Bill, but thank you for thanking me. Let's see what else. Joey asks, did they skip 30 to 39? Yes, they did, Joey, only because 30 to 39 got AstraZeneca, and AstraZeneca allows for a longer period between the first shot and the second shot, whereas the kids, the young ones, I think they got Sinovac. And Sinovac requires that the second shot get delivered sooner. So no, you did not you did not miss out on of anything. The vaccine for folks in their 30s is going to come during the month of September, probably in 2 to 3 weeks. Oculto, maybe food, wine, bud tasting. Well, I was talking to Carmen, for example, that a great Oculto event would be to taste all the spirits of Mexico. Taste tequila, mezcal, raicilla, bacanora. I mean, all these different regional spirits, and get to appreciate the difference between one and the other. But I'm sure that a lot of people will come up with wonderful ideas. Paco, how can I see your broadcast from a previous day? I tried YouTube, but they seem to be much older. YouTube shows them in reverse chronological order, and I haven't been able to figure out how to revert that. So, Pam, what you want to do is just scroll all the way to the end of the YouTube playlist, and it should show it at the very end. Or maybe once you're looking at the actual playlist, you can sort it in reverse order. And of course, they are always archived on the website, paco-ojeda.com. If it's easier for you to get to the website, all you have to do, let me do a quick demo because that's easy to do, is, hold on just a second. If I go on to the website, paco-ojeda.com, and this is always listed on every broadcast, you will find that all the broadcasts are located here. And the latest ones are located at the top. And the more you continue to scroll, you get to see the older broadcasts. And each one of them has a little summary of what was included. And if you click on any one, you find the YouTube broadcast at the top. And then you find all the show notes for that particular broadcast. The headlines, the leisure stuff, the way to support us if you want to become a supporting member, hint, hint. So all that information is available on the website. I would personally choose to navigate the broadcast on the website because there you can actually introduce a search for keyword if you're looking for a specific broadcast. Can we do one less popular and one more popular Colonia each week? We cannot. You have voted, and that's the way it's going to go. Let's see what else. Could we establish an outline of 5 or 6 subjects that could be previewed on each one? Professional services like clinic, pet services, etc. Restaurants, tours, attractions, don't go there. Boundaries, affordability, wheelchair friendly, etc. Then we'd all have an around look at the neighborhood. Do you want a manicure and a pedicure to go with that too, Paula? Just kidding. Just kidding. I am looking at specific categories that are important to me. I am looking at location, public transportation, amenities, convenience stores, crime, restaurants. I'm looking at all that stuff, Paula. It's already on the list. So if there are any specific things that are particularly important to you, of course we can keep that in mind. Just let me know. Send us a note and let me know if we're missing something from that list. Let's see what else. Oh my God, it's 11:25. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm almost done. Oh, there's a comment from Carmen. Carmen says, Logan, yes, amigo, please do get your group together. We will pamper you. I have no doubt. When I was doing photographs for Carmen and Claudia, I was there during a special event that they had for a group. It was a birthday dinner. And it was just wonderful to watch the team that Carmen and Claudia have put together because they work like clockwork. They've worked together for many years with the same chef, the same bartenderess or bartenderess. So it was absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else. You do so much work to keep us informed and nurtured. Well, you do your share, Terry. You know, those of you that support our broadcast do a lot to make sure that both Luna and I can pay our bills. So It's give a lot to get a lot, and I am so very happy to be part of that equation. Let us see what else. Is my El Cerro on the list, or they include us in El Centro? I think I mentioned El Cerro. I am almost certain I mentioned El Cerro because I am familiar with El Cerro. Um, wow, it's as if people want to tell you how to do your job. Also, why are some folks preoccupied with the more popular colonias when there is so much to learn about the lesser known? Thank you very much for that, Heather. Not only that, but there is also so much already written about the more popular colonias. And no, people can try to tell me how to do my job, but no, I don't work for approval. I work for support, which is very different. And I would take suggestions very kindly. We take them very much for heart, but ultimately we do what we do for approval. And I mean, for support, not for approval. And I think that is a nice way to wrap things up. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today is Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend planned. Tomorrow, Saturday, we'll come back with whatever news we find between now and then. So keep the feedback coming. Keep your suggestions coming. Keep coming back to Coffee and Headlines, and keep nurturing us with your thoughts, your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. Stay safe, stay kind, and book your private dinner at Oculto soon. Have a great day.